Hey everyone, it's Mare with SickMom checking in for day 18 of the carnivore diet. I am still very happy. I can just start the video off with that. Things are going good as far as the eating goes. It's kind of nice. Kind of nice not to be, I guess, worrying about food as much. I eat when I'm hungry. If I'm not hungry, that's great. I just wait until I am. And like I was telling you all yesterday, that even I wasn't sure if I was hungry, had a bite of something, realized no, totally not hungry. I'm trusting my hunger cues a lot more. Having said that, yesterday was also what I would call, in hindsight, too much. Did too much yesterday. Did that little Costco run, got some housework done. Yeah, I somehow ended up tweaking my back. I didn't feel like it yesterday before I went to bed. Woke up this morning and just felt like my lower back was cramping up again, and something was a little bit out and something still out in my neck. So that's kind of the stuff that I deal with on a daily basis. Didn't have much planned today, so most of it was a rest day, which was quite good. And this evening it was movie night at my daughter's school, so we went for the movie, sitting in metal folding chairs for a few hours, though definitely didn't help. But by the time we got home and I walked around a little bit, things started loosening up. So, with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which I haven't spoken about directly all that much yet, but that's one of my primary drivers for doing carnivore. With the other stuff too. The psoriatic arthritis and fibromyalgia are just as bad on their own, but having all three in combination makes life pretty interesting most of the time. And by interesting, I mean when you have a condition that has either, whether it's like a hypermobility disorder or if it's Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is not the same as just a, and I won't say just, but as a hypermobility syndrome. With EDS, because all of the collagen in my body is malformed and I have a lot of joint laxity, things tend to slip in and out when they feel like it. So I can wake up in the morning feeling fine, or I can wake up in the morning having a hard time walking. And today was the latter. Just had to move really slowly most of the day, be really careful if I had to bend down, even to open the dishwasher and get into the dishwasher. I have to be really careful with that stuff. So when I'm feeling like this, it's better for me to just lie down and see if my back will stop cramping and that the muscles will just relax around whatever it is that's upset. It works sometimes, other times not so much. I'm probably due to go see my chiropractor, but I would say long overdue. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to get in, in the next month, because that would really help me a lot. But this is kind of what life is like. It's so unpredictable. You never know from one day to the next how you're going to be feeling. So I just keep on trucking. Had stuff to do today, did it anyway. And sometimes I can push through a little bit, but knowing that if I'm going full out, I, I won't last the day. I might not even last a couple of hours. So that's one of the big reasons why I enjoy being an entrepreneur. And when I am working full time, that I prefer to make my own schedule. And it's become necessary now. So as I'm getting back into a working mode this year, it's important for me to remember that on the days where I'm feeling good, I almost feel like I'm playing catch up with life and that I have to get more stuff done. So I checked in with myself a number of times yesterday, just, how's the body feeling? How am I doing? The Costco run was very quick. It wasn't like I was on my feet standing for hours in a lineup or anything. It was just, picking up a few things that were essential and then just getting out of there. But in combination with the other stuff that I did yesterday, you know, probably not such a good idea to have tried to do it all on one day, but I wasn't feeling up to it earlier this week. And that's just the way it is. It's very difficult to try and explain what kind of mindset you need to push through that unless you're going through it. Or if you've ever dealt with a serious injury and that it took you months and months and months to recuperate, that's probably the closest that someone will get to understanding what it's like, because you have good days and bad days when you're convalescing. Or if you've had surgery, sometimes there's setbacks, and there's other days where you feel like nothing ever happened and you're totally fine. I am always striving to find a way to get back to the place where I can just live my life like nothing happened, like the last 4 or 5 years haven't happened. It's not like I will ever lose the memories of that experience. However, I'm looking forward to a time where it's not just catering to my illness throughout the entire day. So, yeah, I'm really grateful that you guys are on this journey with me, whoever is out there watching. And I just hope that I can inspire some of you to keep hoping for yourselves, because I will never give up. There may not be cures for anything that I have, but I will never give up. And that is important on days like today. On the hard days, that's when the mindset of just being strong, knowing that it's temporary, that I won't feel like this every day forever, and that hopefully there's something better ahead, and that carnivore is that catalyst. Some of you might be saying, well, how is it that you're so convinced that changing your eating habits is going to be successful for you? A lot of anecdotal evidence, first of all, from I've been watching a lot of videos and listening to podcasts and reading articles about the carnivore way of life, I guess, because it is a lifestyle. And seeing the results that other people have gotten, knowing that we're all individuals, it could not work for me. However, I'm already feeling a little bit better in certain ways. Like I feel like I'm having less gastro issues than normal, even though you have heard me talk about some issues with my guts. It's still less than it was before. So that's a good thing. And as long as that continues, then that's sort of one issue that can maybe be controlled a little bit better with the carnivore diet. Other people have had success with far worse bowel conditions than I have. Like if someone has inflammatory bowel disease, colitis, Crohn's, there are people who have documented their cases and said, this is where I started and this is where I'm at now, and I'm not turning back the clock because I can live again. I want to be one of those people who comes to the end of this and says, I have my life back. That's what I'm really hoping for. And it's not like I didn't have that hope when I've tried other things. I've always had that in the back of my mind that if I'm going to do something, it had better be worth it. And I also need to know when it'll be time to pull the plug if I don't feel that it's working. At the onset of this, I really, I said at least 3 months, and I do really believe at least 3 months before I start seeing major gains and major differences in how my body's feeling. my conditions didn't develop overnight. Some of them are lifelong. It just took me a really, really long time to get diagnosed, and that I also had to spend many, many years advocating for myself to get into the specialists that I needed. That took a lot of effort. It took a lot of mental energy because every time you get denied for a referral that you know you need, it's crushing, it's devastating. You feel so invalidated, or at least I felt very invalidated because I could not get the help that I needed, no matter how loudly I was shouting from the rooftops, until finally one day I just took matters into my own hands and contacted, a rheumatologist directly that some other EDS patients have been seeing in Calgary. And that's kind of how I got my foot in the door and finally started getting treatment, and also got diagnosed with the other two conditions that I have. That was a really big win because I knew in my heart that I was right and that there was more going on than what met the eye. And Ehlers-Danlos, for a lot of people, that can be a pretty devastating diagnosis. By the time I was diagnosed with it, I'd already been living with my symptoms for years and had been managing them. And it's not like getting the name made a difference, especially not for EDS, because there really aren't any treatments. All you can do is treat the symptoms. But getting diagnosed with psoriatic arthritis, there are treatments for psoriatic arthritis. And then further down the road, being diagnosed with fibromyalgia as well. And there are medications to treat fibromyalgia. So my life is about managing some very tricky conditions that can manifest the same kind of symptoms. And some days it feels like it's compounded. It's one thing on top of another, on top of another. And it's peeling back those layers to get to, okay, well, what do we need to treat immediately? And what can wait? And what do we need to go see a doctor for? Kind of living in constant triage. That's really what it feels like, because something new shows up, whenever and wherever. I could be having a great day walking along, and then suddenly something will slip out in my back and I'll have a hard time walking for weeks. And that hasn't happened, thankfully, for, yeah, it's probably been a couple of years since the last time I had one of those instances, because there's long, complicated history with my back, but having EDS complicates that even more. So, yeah, I guess talking about symptom management, it goes in hand with the carnivore diet, because I do have to deal with nausea, and that sometimes interferes with how I feel like eating. But like I said yesterday, that's getting a bit better. And it's really nice to start trusting my appetite instead of feeling guilty that I haven't eaten because I was so nauseous for the whole day. It's balancing itself out already a little bit. And I'm confident that that's just going to keep getting better. So anyhow, I'm a tired girl again today. So this is pretty much it for the day. And I would just ask, give me some love, people. Give us a big thumbs up if you really enjoyed this video. And I'm so happy to have you with me. I invite comments and suggestions always. And just, keep kindness and compassion in your heart, because you're talking with someone who, if you are going through a chronic condition, I may not have the same one, but I bet you our paths have looked quite similar over time. So please subscribe to this channel, get that notification set up so that you know exactly when the next videos are going to drop on YouTube. And for tonight, this is SickMom checking out.